Welcome to the show, folks. Another edition of PodCRASH. This week, I'm crashing a podcast called Poparitaville. And Poparitaville actually did a special edition of their podcast just for me. It's hosted by a guy named Jesse Banda, who's also known as Jungle Jesse. And he's a guy who's done this website called Poparitaville. It's Poparitaville.com. It's mostly pop culture stuff, but I've been on a lot of pop culture podcasts. And Jesse thought he would do something special. He used to work at Disneyland, which is where he got the name Jungle Jesse, because he would be one of the ship captains on the jungle ride at Disneyland. And he worked there for years, and he knows all kinds of secrets of going to Disneyland, getting the most out of enjoying Disneyland. And based on how much it costs now, you'll definitely want to take heed of some of these tips. So we will get to this week's crash later. A couple of quick plugs. Actually, one quick plug before I get we're doing a very first live edition of PodCRASH. It's I'm going to be crashing the podcast Defective Geeks, and that's Saturday, June 23rd at 7 p.m. at the Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach. There's more information on the PodCRASH Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/PodCRASH. Okay, so before we get to this week's crash, Poparitaville's Disneyland Secrets episode, I am recording this on Mother's Day. And I have called my mom. I've called her on her cell phone. I've called my mom at home. I've called and left messages everywhere. I'm going to reach my mom. Now, she lives in Michigan. That's where I'm from. I've said before, I'm from the Detroit area of Michigan, just outside Detroit, Royal Oak, where I grew up. And I live here in LA. So, I'm actually, you know what? I'm not going to say what I sent my mom, because they're not a sponsor of this show. So why should I give them a plug? But you have to call your mom on Mother's Day, and reaching my mom, it's going to be a tough one. So I actually, just in case, if she calls, I'm actually going to have to stop the podcast so that I can actually talk to my mom. I will do that. My mom, I have to be honest, my mom is more important to me than this podcast. So I'm sorry. You know what? I can just pause it. Anyways, so I sent my mom this text. I'm going to read the text I sent my mom on Mother's Day. I said, "Times are rough. Times are hard. I just texted your Mother's Day card. I love you, Chris." Now she's going to laugh at the first part, and you know what? The last part, that I love you part, that's for her. But my mom, I will just say this, because it is Mother's Day. I'm thinking about my mom. I believe I really got my sense of humor from my mom. She just had such a great sense of humor about herself, because she was not, first of all, single mother. My parents got divorced when I was 9. She was, you know what? I don't know. I don't have to remember how old she was then, but I was 9 years old. Parents split up. So I'm from a typical broken home in America. So what? But she always got us through everything with a bizarre sense of humor. And she always, what I observed about her, she had a great sense of humor about herself. She would end up doing just sort of trying to manage. It's tough for any single mothers out there. Anyone knows any single mother. It's a rough thing. So, but she really worked to create a great home for us. And the one thing is, she would always, I remember this one story. We were in the teller line. It was one of those things where it's like you put the little suction tube and it goes through, and then you put your deposit or your withdrawal. So she withdrawed some money. And when the teller said, "Oh, okay, have a good day, thank you," she just drove off. The person behind took the money. She would do a lot of weird, dumb things. And the way she would just kind of get through it is like, well, and then she would just have like a really good sense of humor. That's kind of in our family, how we kind of deal with any sort of stress or drama. It's just sort of a pressuring of, you're being an idiot. So I'm that idiot quite a bit. So really the sense of humor just was our coping mechanism. The other thing I got from my mom that I think is really, I really have to appreciate her for, I think that you in this audience will especially appreciate her for this, is she encouraged me to go to movies that were at the art house, then known as the art house. Like now they're sort of the indie theaters, the rep theaters, whatever you want to call it. It was one of those things that she'd always say, don't go to the mall theater. Don't go see those mall movies. Who cares about that? You've got to go see the foreign films. You have to go see, the independents. She was always telling me to do that, and really drilled it in my head. I mean, like in high school, she's telling me to do this stuff. So I did that. I went to the art houses, and I remember she was telling me to go see Sex, Lies, and Videotape. What mom would say, go see that movie? And there was a theater, I'm not even sure if it's still around, in Michigan called the Maple Theater. It was the Maple Theater. There was the DIA, which was the Detroit Institute of the Arts, which was run by Elliot Wilhelm. And those were kind of the places I went. And then the Punch and Judy Theater in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, which was the only reason I had to get a car so I could drive there. But she was constantly telling me, you got to see this movie and you got to see this movie, and don't just accept what's at the normal movie theater. You have to seek out the stuff. So really, kind of the development of my taste in movies, which is sort of an alternative taste, came from her. I mean, really, the concept of not simply looking at what is being fed to you by the mainstream media and like, here's the number one movie and this is the big thing that I guess we all have to file in line and see that thing. You know, she encouraged that, and that actually kind of crossed over into my taste in music and books and just any sort of media that I seek out is just sort of, everyone's going to see that. I'll get to that. That's easily accessible. This may not be as easily accessible. So that came from her, and I really, really appreciate that. And this may end up being the only episode of the podcast that she ever hears if she listens to this, which I'm hoping she only listens to this one. She listens to the other ones. I am in big trouble. I am in major, major trouble from my mom. But that's the one thing I'd always count on her: great sense of humor. And so I love you, Mom, if you're listening to a podcast. If she could figure out how to download a podcast. She watches me on TV, and she has an iPad too. She has no clue how to use the iPad too. She can play Bubble Bobble or the most simple puzzle games, but anything technical completely eludes her. So anyways, look, I know it's too late for Mother's Day, but if you're looking for a strange gift, I have a website that I want you to check out. www.squidkidinc. It's squidkidsinc.com with a K. You need to go there because if you're into vinyl toys like I'm into vinyl toys, you have to check out their stuff. They've got this really sort of cute, cool. They've got these squid plush figures, and then they've got the sort of retro-inspired Tendo figures. It's super cool. It's like a Nintendo cartridge, but with little anthropomorphic arms and legs. It's so cute, and they've got blank ones. You can paint them. They're awesome. And if you enter the promo code PodCRASH, you'll get 20% off your order. Maybe this is good for Father's Day. Kind of a Father's Day vinyl toy gift, something for a friend. So you go to squidkidsinc.com. That's with a K. Squidkidsinc.com. And it's for geeks, made by geeks. Check out their vinyl toys and enter that PodCRASH offer code. Okay, so that's my plug for this. Oh, wait, one more quick one. Yes, come on, I've earned it. I got 2 more copies of my DVD Red that exist. So the short film Red, which is about the infamous 2-bar tapes, that bartender Red who's tortured by prank phone calls, is there alcoholic here? So you can get Red on DVD. I have only 2 copies, like in the universe. It's loaded with extras, including behind-the-scenes commentary, even a drunk commentary. There's like 3 commentaries on there. All kinds of special features, too, if you just sort of click around. Go to Etsy.com. That's ETSY.com. Search for Red DVD. Enter the offer code PodCRASH. You'll get 50% off the DVD. That's a good deal. Like I say, there's 2 copies left. I started with a box. Now we're down to 2. Order your copy of Red DVD on Etsy.com today. Okay, so let's get to this week's crash. How did I meet Jesse Banda? I don't know. Probably the internet. That's how I meet everybody these days. But Jesse does a really cool website called Poparitaville. It's everything pop culture. So Poparitaville.com. It's everything. It's theme parks. It's video games. It's movie news. It's an awesome site. And he also does a podcast. And he's one of those, he doesn't do it like always. It's not like reliably like every week. It's like when there's something special. And as I said, Jesse was Jungle Jesse, but he was actually involved in a controversy. There were a sort of slew of firings at Disneyland. You can even look up Jungle Jesse, Disneyland firings. If you just Google that, you'll get the whole story on Jesse. And he was involved in sort of like a bunch of people around him were fired. He sort of stayed with Disneyland, but even Michael Eisner was like, hey, who's this Jungle Jesse guy? So Jungle Jesse is infamous. And he no longer works at Disneyland, but he has a lot of good friendships there, a lot of great relationships. And because of that, he knows everything about Disneyland. I mean, first of all, It was so much fun. Who doesn't want to record a podcast at Disneyland? And we're recording this podcast while we're waiting in line for certain rides. Oh man, it was fun. But he's telling me like, here's what you really need to do when you go here, and here's what you should do when you go here. He even tells me where you can have sex at Disneyland. That's right. There's a certain place you can actually have sex at Disneyland, and there's certain tips that if you follow these, you'll have a much better experience. Yes, you'll find out what TGS is and where to have sex at Disneyland. So I really got to thank Jesse and his wife. We hung out like we didn't hang out all day, but for a couple of hours walking around the park as he told me every secret that he knew about Disneyland, and he knows a lot. So this will be not only a fun podcast, informative for you vacationers and travelers and fans of Disney. So here it is. It's the Poparitaville Disneyland Secrets special episode. And I PodCRAShed it. Give it a listen. I'm in the happiest place on earth. Jesse, we're here at Disneyland, but we're not just here at Disneyland, on just any other day.
Right.
This is Star Wars Day.
This is Star Wars. I mean,
May the 4th be with you.
And we're decked out. You got your Yoda jacket on. I got my Darth Vader sweatshirt hoodie on. My wife isn't wearing hers, but that's okay.
And we're walking over to Star Tours, which has been completely revamped now. I would love to hear some of your secrets of Disneyland. There's the Walt Disney statue right here in this courtyard area. There's a rumor about that statue. Would you clear up the rumor about this statue?
Okay, well, one of the things is that a lot of people do not know is that the Imagineers for Disneyland are very dirty. They're very filthy. To give you an idea of it, you can't see them now, but the old Christmas parade that used to happen, the characters would be on story blocks, with letters. By coincidence, the blocks that Ariel, the Little Mermaid, sat on the Christmas parade with all the families, happened to be arranged L-U-S-T.
Really?
Yes.
It just said lust.
It just said lust right there for everybody to see under Ariel, lust. And another joke that they love to play here is the statue that everybody knows. It's at what's called the Hub here at Disneyland. Is of Walt and Mickey. So what I'm going to do now with you is I want you to follow me over here.
Okay.
Now we are going over right by the entrance to Frontierland. So there's a little walkway here. There's a family crossing. Little kids, you cannot see this because it is not for you. I want you to stare straight ahead at Walt and Mickey and notice where Mickey's nose is perfectly placed.
This is amazing. So Frontierland is to my back, but as I see the Walt statue, and he's sort of waving off, and you see Mickey at sort of groin level to Walt. It looks very, I gotta be honest, it looks very phallic.
It's very phallic. So customers, we love to call that Happy Walt.
That is, yes, Walt is in the happiest place. His happiest, oh my God.
The happiest place is in his pants.
Okay, now, let's talk about some other things. Yes. I'm here at Disneyland. I want to drink alcohol. Other than sneaking in a flask, where can I get a drink at Disneyland? This is important to me.
Inside Disneyland itself, there's actually only one location where you can purchase alcohol here. However, it is not for public guests.
Okay, wait a second, because what I would do is back in the day I had a Silver Pass, right, to Disneyland, and I would come and park. I would park at the hotel, and then I would get some drinks at the hotel, and then I would take the monorail into the park.
As did many cast members.
A lot. That was the way to go in, because then you go in, well, I've had a couple margaritas, time to go on Space Mountain. Or one of my favorite rides, which is no longer here, which was sad. It was sad when I would go to this ride in the 90s, was Trip to Mars, which was 16,
Journey to Mars.
Yeah, Journey to Mars. You were surrounded by, like, you'd come in, well, first of all, there was like sort of bad 16 millimeter, and then there was what was the one ride where it was just like, you'd sit in this dome room, and I remember asking the guy, so is this a good ride? He goes, it's okay. And it was like a 16 millimeter projectors in different corners, so you were surrounded by it. It was like, and I remember it just being so sad because the film was so old and it was just so out of date, and the information was out of date in terms of just space travel. But all that stuff is gone. Like, I haven't been to Disneyland in over a decade, and it's completely different. Now, okay, another question.
Yes.
Let's say I'm in a randy mood with my lady, and I would like to be intimate with her. Is there a place I can be intimate and I can make the happiest place on earth even more happy?
All right. This is the one story. This is the one thing that everybody loves to know. They always want to know, where can I have sex? Where can I be intimate with my partner
Yes.
in the park? First off, I'll say there is a lot of sex happening at the park. However,
there's a lot of sex.
There's a lot of sex happening at the park. However, most of it is cast members.
So it's cast members like behind the scenes,
Right? Because there are rooms and areas where you would only have access to. As a matter of fact, anybody that's worked Pirates of the Caribbean, all I'll say is Mylar table.
All right, so wait a sec. So Mylar table. Okay, now here's what I want. Because if I worked here, my goal would be to be with every princess. And which princess is the most popular to bag? Like Ariel? Like what?
Well, I mean, she was on blocks that said lust, so.
Right. But okay, so I'm just attending Disneyland.
But inside the park. All right.
Inside the park.
Now I will put this with caution. Kids, you should not try it because it is a dangerous area. However, right behind Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, there's an area that you can't see unless you're looking for it. When you're walking around it from Fantasyland, you're going the little walkway, and you'll see the Big Thunder Barbecue on your right-hand side, and the back of Big Thunder Mountain is on your left-hand side. You'll see kind of a dilapidated wagon out there. Right near it is a little cave. That cave has a name.
What's the name of the cave?
It's called Condom Cave.
Condom Cave. Wait, they find condoms in that cave?
You would find used condoms in there all the time.
Condom Cave. Okay, so Condom Cave is located behind
Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Thunder Mountain. Okay, good. We're going to walk by there. I want you to point it out to me. Now, we were talking about some other secrets of the park. You mentioned there's one Disney movie that actually has... there's a Disney movie that has a naked woman in it.
That's right.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
The Rescuers.
So the Rescuers, and isn't it like a flash frame of like as they're falling or something?
What it is I wish I could remember the name of the main characters, but they're flying on I think it's on a dragonfly, and they're going through an alley through the city, and as they're going through the alley, very quickly, and through one of the windows, you see a flash frame for about one, maybe two frames of a real, not an animated, but a real topless woman.
Wow. And there was that whole controversy about the Little Mermaid box packaging. Back when it came out on VHS in the early 90s,
right.
The Little Mermaid was at the top of one of the towers was a painted...
It was a penis.
Let's be honest, it was a penis. But the funny thing is, the whole thing that broke from that is they thought it was some employee trying to sabotage. It actually was, and I believe the guy was gay, too. He was a gay artist who just
which at
painted
Disney
it.
is unheard of.
You know what? They say paint what you know. But actually, they don't ever say that. But what I'm saying is,
we say that now.
He was embarrassed by it. It was not intentional on his part. I do know that there was this huge controversy, and they had to like pull those box covers. The box art is totally changed now, but I remember having that box art and going, "Yeah, that's a penis. All right, that's a penis on the top of the tower." Well, I feel that way when I look at some of these princesses. But it just turned out to be like a guy that it was an accident.
Right.
Now, we're inside now. I hope the audio is good here as we're entering inside the Star Tours. This is crazy. But this is also like, we were talking about earlier, like, I've been to Disneyland many times.
Right.
But I've been lucky enough to get an annual pass or have a silver pass. And I feel it's fun to come here when it's just, you can be relaxed. Like, I love, when I used to have the silver pass, I would come here, like, on weekends, it's open till what?
Off season, it's open till about 8.
Yeah, but sometimes like 11 p.m. or midnight, right?
Right.
Some nights. And it'd be fun to come here like at 5 p.m. because things kind of start to slow down. Like the kids have been here since the morning, so the little kids are, I'm out of energy, I'm all whiny. So then it's like the park gets kind of taken over more by adults.
Right, and not only that, but also too, once you get to that point, most of the people are in line waiting for a parade or Fantasmic.
Right, and speaking of parade, I saw the electric parade back in the 90s. I can still, to this day, there is the loop of the electric parade in my head as I'm like, as soon as I start to hear it, ding, 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 ah! It drives me nuts.
I actually have videotape
really?
From the final performance, because I was working here.
Right.
So, and the night of the final performance, final performances after they extended it, for months and months and months, it was so packed in the park for people to see the final performances of the electrical parade You have the normal waiting areas that people
Right.
get on the the sidewalk to wait for the parade. Stay inside the roped area. Stay inside the rope. It was getting so hard to contain people because there were so many. We finally just started lifting a lot of the gates around the flower beds, and basically told everybody, unless people are climbing up in the tree, let them stand wherever they want.
Now, I want to ask you about, there are many unofficial days at Disneyland. Some of the days are goth day.
Right.
There's another, it's like gay night. What are some of the other ones? And also, how does Disney react to these, sort of unsanctioned, unofficial days that the park gets taken over by a bunch of goth kids?
By ravers.
Yeah, so what are some of the different days, and then how does Disney react to them?
It's hard because those people that come here for those, unofficial days, they're buying a theme park ticket.
Right.
So it's not anything that's sanctioned by them. And like their gay days here at the park, they don't promote it.
Right.
Which, I think that they should, because even Universal Studios promotes it when
Right.
they have it. So what happens is, if you are a part of it, they call it Red T-shirt Day.
Oh, right.
So everybody, not necessarily if you're gay, but if you are supporting it, if you're with it, they'll all come with the red T-shirts.
See,
now,
I would be confused. Like, which ear does the earring go in a dude's? I still have no clue. I don't care, actually. But yeah, no, I always like to come to those days. Like, and are there other ones besides goth and gay? Like,
it's so weird now because there's so many different groups, but there's the rave day where they come.
Right, rave
as a
day.
matter of fact, I remember one rave day at night. This one girl who was tripping on acid during Fantasmic went into seizures.
oh my God.
And went out cold into a coma in front of Fantasmic, and all of her friends scattered. Nobody tried to help her. They left. And so, obviously we had paramedics come in to get her.
So it was just like a real rave. They
Yeah,
just
pretty much.
sort of didn't help her out. That's lame, folks.
Don't do that.
Yeah. And now we're about to get on the ride, which now is changed.
It's now updated.
It's updated. It is includes like, aren't there 4 different endings or something?
There
Or 4
are
different-
a myriad of endings for Star Tours. And what they've done is they've obviously updated the film to using CG. It's in 3D now.
Oh wow, we get 3D glasses.
Yeah. So we get
Wow.
the 3D glasses, and I know you haven't been on it yet. My wife
have
hasn't
not
been
been
on
on
this
it.
version yet, and it's fantastic. It really, really is.
I can't wait. You're gonna have to put away the microphone. Let's go on Star Tours. Okay, so I have a love-hate relationship with Star Wars, like a lot of old school fans, and I think a lot of this is actually best told in that documentary, The People vs. George Lucas, which I think is available for download. It's streaming on Netflix right now, so check that out. I'm actually in the documentary, but it's one of those things where it's like you can sit there and complain about all this stuff about Star Wars, all the special edition changes, the prequels were not exactly what we thought they were going to be, but at the end of the day, George created Star Wars, this thing that connects so many people from, it doesn't matter, gender, race, economic level, all the things that sort of, you're into Coldplay, I'm not into Coldplay, but we're all into Star Wars. I think that that connects all of us. And I thought the ride was great. I thought it was awesome. Like I'm at the point where it's like, I'm not a big roller coaster guy, and those motion rides can, but this one was just, it was great. I thought the 3D really worked. So 3D can work in certain situations. And I think also using 3D for a limited time is great, because the ride's like 6 minutes, 7 minutes. I don't know. I thought it was, I thought it was a blast, and I would like to go on it again. We only went on the ride once, and I have to go back now to Disneyland to experience that ride again. So Jesse tells me a lot more about Disneyland, things you never thought you would know. Now, as we were walking our way, around the park, see a lot of people with some minor injuries in wheelchairs. I've seen so many people in wheelchairs that your legs are in perfect shape. How do you handle having worked here in the past? How do you handle someone who looks like they're faking an injury, or they've got a wheelchair but they really look like they don't need it?
And the thing is that realistically,
You perform miracles on these people because they look like they could walk. I gotta be honest. There's this one girl we saw as we were walking up. It's like, you do not need that wheelchair. You are so faking to get front of the line. I think that's BS.
Right. And the thing is too is that I know that I personally have seen a lot of people where you wouldn't think something was wrong with them, but there really was, and there was a reason for them. And then there are others that are very obvious, and then there are those where you're like, okay, so something's up. But legally, you cannot ask them what's wrong with you. What's wrong with you? Why can't you walk? You just,
So you're saying get a wheelchair?
I'm injured and ow. Help! I can't walk. But the thing is, though, is that if you're planning on, hey, I'm going to get a wheelchair and we're going to totally get to the front of the line and everything, think twice, because a lot of the attractions here at the park are ADA compliant, which means that the wheelchair has to go through the queue, through the line, up to a certain point. Then you go out and go through a wheelchair entrance. So a lot of times you might think that you're going to go right at the exit, and that's not always the case.
I just think it's cheating.
It is.
I think it's lame.
It is too, because I've also seen a lot of people that have showed up at the park that really need a wheelchair, and they're all rented. Which I think that they've kind of fixed that problem by having more on supply. But I've seen it before. So come on, be nice, kids. There are people that need those.
Now, tell me some more secrets of the park. You said that you mentioned earlier that club, right? I talked about going to drink at the hotel.
Right, Club 33.
Club 33, and then also hey, you can always sneak in a flask.
Right.
That's the smart way. A bottle of water may not be water. It may be, and you can get orange juice here.
Yes.
So you can mix your own drinks. But this Club 33, tell me about Club 33, because I've heard rumors of it, and I've heard if you're a VIP, you can actually get a pass.
They'll pretty much take you in there. If you're a major VIP, they'll take you in there to
How
have
major
to have
of a
lunch.
VIP? Like, let's say
We're talking your Johnny Depps, your Brad Pitts.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are get taken there no matter what.
No matter what, because they would have crowds around.
Right, exactly.
So, I'm in disguise, although someone did recognize me at the park, and it was just some dude trying to get me to cover his DVD. But if I was on a minor cable television hit for 7 years, is there any way to talk my way into Club 33? It
is possible, but the only way to do it, though, is you have to go through guest relations or VIP relations here at the park. So you'd get in touch to book a VIP tour where you get your own tour guide. They'll take you around the park. They'll take you up the exit for the attraction so you're not waiting in line. And you can, see what are the chances of, getting Club 33.
But Jesse, you used to work here.
Right.
What are the chances of me? Let's be honest, and I totally
quite honestly, for you, I think the chances would be good.
Really?
You probably could talk your way into saying, hey, you know what? It'd be, if I could get lunch at Club 33, I think that the chances would be good. But you would, again, have to go through guest relations to get all that set up, and then more than likely press relations here, the PR team would then probably vet you as well. And
all right,
but I think that you have a higher possibility than, I don't know, somebody on Lifetime.
A much minor... Well, how much minor can you go below me? You can't go much lower than what I do. But look, now, okay, so what you're saying is if I hire a publicist for, say, $2,000 a month,
right,
I could probably come to Disneyland.
Absolutely.
I still have to pay.
Yes.
I still have to pay. So it would cost me $2,000 plus the ticket to get in to do the VIP thing, to have drinks there. I would rather get a virgin mint julep outside of the Pirates of the Caribbean.
But the thing is, too, then is what I would suggest is that, because really the only way to do the parks now is to get a park hopper to go back and forth between the two parks here.
Right.
If you go to California Adventure, you can buy alcohol. They sell margaritas there. They sell beer there.
But are those good margaritas, or the ones made with margaritas made with wine? I hate the white wine margaritas.
They actually are good margaritas. They're the ones that are obviously already pre-blended.
Right.
And they're actually really good.
Right.
And I like my drinks, so to say that those are pretty good.
Okay, so Club 33 is really a VIP only. What if really you're just... I mean, is there something? Is it like a club thing where you could just sort of pay your way in? You cannot. It's absolutely a VIP thing.
Yeah. Club 33, when it was originally started, Club 33 was done by Walt so that he would have a private venue where he could take his corporate sponsors, his friends, that they could have their own private lunch here. Really nice place to go. So that's why Club 33 started.
Now, Walt's not frozen.
No. That has always been the story. Is everybody? Oh, Walt's frozen. You
know what? I actually have a frozen Walt action figure.
Oh,
it's one of the. It was a weird, rare. I'm serious. It's a guy like Walt Disney with the. I'll send you a picture of it.
Yes,
I'll post a picture.
I want to see that
along with this so you could.
But that was one of the questions. Even working here, you always got all the time. Is it true Walt's frozen? Is it true Walt's frozen? No, he was actually cremated. But that is why the churros taste so good.
All right, now wait. There were a lot of questions you had from Twitter. Let's address those questions.
Let me pull out some of these questions here.
Okay.
That we got
and first of all, I can't thank you enough.
Absolutely,
you
guys.
Got me in the park. We're hanging out, and it's May 4th. May the 4th be with you, and also with you.
All right.
Okay, so what's this question and who's it from?
Well, the first two that actually sent right away, hey, what about Sex in the Park? We talked about Condom Cave.
Right.
That came from at Tisha Lull1 and Tara Dublin Rocks.
Well, Tara Dublin Rocks, I just want you to know, I've found the location of Condom Cave, standing outside of it now, and you can follow me at that Chris Gore, and maybe there's a theme park fantasy in our future. But well, first of all, what's this? I mean, we're standing behind. What is this ride again?
This is Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
So Big Thunder Mountain, you can have little Big Thunder action. Okay, so I can't actually see myself actually going to Disneyland and trying to get it on at that cave. I'm not, look, I like to do some crazy stuff, but the idea that there are kids around and stuff, I don't know. I think that could get you in a load of trouble. As for Club 33, honestly, I would love to go there. I would just feel like a jerk pitching myself to them as somebody who actually deserves to go to Club 33. That kind of stuff is weird for me. I'd rather, any sort of weird, look at this, any sort of thing that like puts you at the level of like a VIP, I'm just uncomfortable. I'd rather just hang in line with everybody else. I know that seems strange. You know what? So for me, if I'm going to drink at Disneyland, I'm just going to bring in a flask. Okay. All right. So let's get back to it. More Secrets of Disneyland on the Poparitaville podcast with Jungle Jesse. Also, the thing is that, Disney has its own security that has its own set of rules.
Yes. They have I will tell you that...
Are they nice? Are they nice to deal with?
The ones that you see in the park are incredibly nice. If you ever, for any reason in particular...
Where are the bad cops?
They're in the back. And I will tell you that the more higher-ups in security here and internal investigations inside the park, many of them are ex-government workers that know how to interrogate.
Wow. Well, I mean, look, let's say I do some, get some action in Condom Cave.
And you get caught.
And I get caught. What happens? Because I will say that there is a bar in the Gas Lamp in San Diego that I can no longer go to. I'm not allowed because of a similar situation. I was caught. So what would happen?
What would happen is...
I'm going to get kicked out of the park and probably never allowed back.
Yeah, you're going to get kicked out. And usually what will happen is Disney... Whoever it is that catches you calls it a security, unless it's a security guard that actually catches you. There's also Anaheim PD that's here backstage full-time now.
Wow.
So you'll then be prosecuted for whatever it is they decide. Sometimes it'll just be as little as trespassing, and then they kick you out and say, don't come back again.
God, I wish I could just get trespassing.
So it could be a variety of reasons.
Wow.
So I would say be careful what you do here, kids, because there are always eyes watching you.
Okay, there's got to be some more good questions, but I mean, the one thing is like, I would like, because you worked here for like how many years?
Gosh, I was here for 5 years.
5 years. So like, there's got like, what can I do to really enhance my experience? Like, what are the things that like people don't think like to me, like every time I would come to Disneyland, I got to go Mr. Toad's Wild Ride because you were saying that like it's the only ride where
that is the only ride in the park where they will kill you on purpose and send you to hell.
Yeah, it's great. It is the most freaky ride. You think I'm going on this sort of idyllic ride for kids.
Now, here's a little pop question for you. In the same area of the park, which is the only attraction that actually cusses?
I don't know. So there's swearing on one of the... I don't know. It's Peter Pan.
Close. Pinocchio.
Yes. There's.
When they go to Pleasure Island to turn into donkeys, he tells you, go ahead and make an ass out of yourself.
Make an ass. Oh my God. Well, what's so funny is that you think those little rides for kids, like are just, that's for little kids. Those are so dumb. Peter Pan and Sleeping Beauty and all those. They're the most. If you are plastered or on any sort of mind-altering substance,
or even just a little tiny kid.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a little kid or if you're an adult who's taking some sort of mind-enhancing substance, those are the coolest rides to go on. Are these sort of like, there's nothing to them. They're just little dioramic displays with weird lighting, and you're going through. But they freak me out if I've done anything like that. Like we're talking about Mr. Toad, of course, and what are the ones? Peter Pan. You
got Snow White's Scary Adventure, and then if you really want to trip out, then you got Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I mean, that already is a trip.
And It's a Small World, too, can also freak you out.
Oh, my God, It's a Small World.
And then, like, with Pirates of the Caribbean...
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh. The Winnie the Pooh ride now at Critter Country. That'll freak you out if you're high or drunk. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of attractions that aren't here anymore. What do they do when they sort of, like, retire an attraction? Like,
it depends.
Dead rides, so to speak. Dead rides at Disneyland.
Well, either they'll rebuild in the location if they can, but other times it just kind of sits dormant. Like we passed by the old Skyway entrance. The reason that closed is because it could not. There's no way that could physically make it ADA compliant, where you would legally be able to put a wheelchair into it. Because those cars, the cabins would come flying in the station, and the cast members would really have to hold on with all their weight to stop it long enough for you to climb in, shut it, and it continued going.
Also, the dumb thing about that ride is, and I've never done this, but I've always had the temptation of taking, let's say I'm having a pretzel, I'm on that ride. I want to see what happens if I throw it to the ground.
Right.
It's sort of my own personal video game. I'm trying to actually make it hit a particular spot. And that temptation exists.
Oh, yeah. Well, we used to do stuff like that as cast members. Not from that ride, but in the Indiana Jones adventure, when you're in the queue and you're going down, there's a long hallway area, and up above, the ceiling is open. You can see, like, trees growing over it, so it looks like a dilapidated temple. It's actually kind of a nice little, ground level on the outside, and so we would hide up there as cast members with water guns. So on a busy day, the queue would be filled with people inside there, and we just run our hand over the side with the water gun and just start shooting into the queue, and then you peek over the side, and people are looking around like, where the hell is this water coming from?
Okay, now tell me, we've talked about the fact that, you were a cast... That's what they actually call people who work at the park.
They call them cast members because they're part of a show here at Disneyland. Everything is considered a show, so they don't have employees, they have cast members.
Now, one of my favorite parts of the show, we talked about earlier, princesses. Some of the princesses, some of these girls, and I've seen some cosplay girls doing this online, they are like the hot version of Ariel or the hot Pocahontas. You know what I'm saying? They must be treated like... Are the princesses treated like royalty here as the cast members?
Not at all. No, and the thing is, too...
Some of them are so smoking hot, though.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean that they're treated any different. Quite honestly, the face characters, and especially the costume characters, they can be treated sometimes the worst, and not necessarily by the people that run the park, but by the guests.
Oh, the guests!
Because the guests have a high expectation of them, and it's like, it was to put an equation. What about, let's say, you trying to walk through the Comic-Con floor, on a busy day?
Yes, it's just like that. I've never actually done anything too crazy at a theme park. I mean, first of all, the thought pops into my head to think of something stupid and crazy and weird to do. And the worst thing I do, I like to joke around. So I might joke around. But the thought of actually doing something that could get me kicked out of the park doesn't cross my mind, because the theme parks are so expensive these days. And the second thing is, I don't want to mess around, because I'm become too obsessed with those things where you find out people have died in really stupid accidents. Like, hey, I'm going to do something crazy on a roller coaster, which ends up with someone dead. So I don't want to die in an embarrassing way, and I don't want to waste the money I spent on the theme park getting kicked out for doing something stupid, which is why I am a really well-behaved person at a theme park. I feel like maybe this is what we need to do to revamp our prisons. If prisons were more like theme parks, prisoners would misbehave a lot less. Maybe even schools too. This could solve a lot of problems if we just made it like you're going on the ride where you learn English, or the ride where you're okay, this is definitely a bit that's not going to make it ever into my stand-up, because it's not funny. It's not funny. This is what happens on the, and this, wait a second. And I have a voicemail message from my mom, because of course, why would I hear that? I'm trying to finish this podcast so I can talk to my mom on Mother's Day. Okay, back for the final segment of the Poparitaville Disneyland special with Jungle Jesse. Okay, so this is sort of the end of our big tour here.
It's the end of our journey.
It's the end of our journey.
Well, for this one, for today.
Yeah, for this particular one. But there are so many secrets here. I mean, what are some of the... You're going to build up to something big. Like, right. I really want to find out how you can sneak into the park and get in for free. But don't tell me that yet. Tell me what are some of the other things that no one would know unless they listen to this podcast.
Yeah, one of the biggest secrets is they have a thing here that's called TGS, which stands for Total Guest Satisfaction. And what that means is that you never want somebody to leave Disneyland unhappy. You don't want them to leave upset, because obviously they leave upset, they talk bad about your brand, you want them coming back. So you want to do whatever it takes before they file a complaint. So a lot of times that means the front of the line cast members that work the attractions, work the stores, you need to do whatever it is you can to go above and beyond what it takes. And one of the things sometimes that makes people unhappy, you have a couple of things. They're on a ride when it breaks down. Or, oh my God, I dropped my sunglasses in Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh my God, I dropped my cell phone or my sunglasses, into the Jungle Cruise River. If it's something that can be easily replaced, sunglasses, your T-shirt, something like that. If you were to raise a big enough stink about it, they will get your replacement.
Well, that is first of all, that's amazing. And TGS, also my policy when it comes to dating.
Girl satisfaction.
When I'm with a lady, I make sure that total guest satisfaction in that regard. Also, so TGS, similar policy. Yeah. I didn't know about the TGS policy.
Yeah. So that's a huge thing that obviously they don't tell anybody about. They don't want you to know about, because I have the biggest thing I ever saw where they kind of started clamping down on it. Because before, what it used to be for me, somebody dropped their sunglasses, oh my God, I'm so sorry about that, come with me. And I'd walk them into a store, say, hey, this person lost their sunglasses in Jungle Cruise River, I need to get them a replacement. And I'd grab like a $20 pair, I'd sign my name on the receipt with my department number, and it would be taken care of. That's the way it used to happen.
Right.
Then I heard of another cast member doing TGS in another department, because somebody had, I think, wet something happened to the guest's jacket. And so when they went to TGS, they decided, well, I'll TGS you a new jacket in one of the stores, and got them an expensive leather jacket and charged it to their department.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that person was very satisfied.
Oh, they were very happy.
And the thing is this, the one thing that I like about that policy is it rewards you for being a really good complainer. And I don't want to brag, I'm pretty good at complaining. I got to be honest with you. I can complain really well. And I will complain in a way, like, I never get mean. I'm really nice about it. Mm-hmm. So then I end up getting, even like not even asking for it, I'll be offered things. Because I'm just, it's right. Like, here's my situation. And so if you're as good a complainer, you think you're as good a complainer as I am, you should take advantage of this TGS policy. Now, is that your big secret that you're saving for the end, or do you got something else?
I think that's
pretty good.
I think that's a good one because who knows what'll happen. But again, and that was while I was here. I don't know how much more they've clamped down on, or what hoops you have to jump through to get it. Because when I left here, the way they had clamped down is that you actually had almost like a receipt that you would fill out, and check mark on it, like, free popcorn, free ice cream, whatever. And if it went up past a certain amount for something had to be replaced, you then had to go and find your manager to get your manager to sign off on it. And so I don't know how many hoops you have to jump through now, but the cast members here at Disneyland will do whatever it takes to make sure that you are happy.
Now, in terms of getting into the park for free,
yes,
one of the things I pride myself on is being able to crash parties. I like to crash parties. I can talk my way into a party. Is there any way that you know of that you could get into the park for free? Is there any way to crash it, whatever? You got to go through Club 33 and be a VIP? Is that what it is? Is that what you're going to tell me? Because I don't think I'm at that level.
It is much more difficult to do now with the California Adventure, now that the park is kind of surrounded by a resort.
Well, you can get into California Adventure for free because they're pretty much like...
they'll beg you to come in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, please give me California Adventure.
Yeah, but like in terms of is there any way to do that? Is there any way to take advantage and sort of can you comp me?
They clamp down now, because what happens is, obviously they're like the silver passes, the cast member, get sign-ins that they can bring. They're now clamping down on a lot of that because they don't want people to barter with them anymore. Oh, hey, I'll give you this if you get me in. And so they started cracking down on that.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, I had a couple of friends that were fired while I was working here because the story was that while they were in Orlando, because you could get into all the Disney theme parks for free when you work for them, is they decided that they would sell one of their sign-ins to the park for $20.
Wow.
And they got caught. That's the story.
Wow, that's like palming tickets.
Yeah, exactly. And so now they're clamping down on it, and a lot of times now if cast members bring their friends into the park for free, the story is that now they're checking to see to make sure that those cast members are actually with their guests when they come in the park, and so it's become very totalitarian.
Wow. Now, the thing is this: if we keep doing this podcast, we're never going to have fun here.
I know. You know what? Okay, so I think that's enough secrets.
Yeah, I think
we
yeah.
need a Dole Whip.
Yeah, we got to get a Dole Whip.
Let's go get it.
So that's it for this week's show. Dole Whip, delicious, by the way. But you can go to Poparitaville.com, and you can also follow Jungle Jesse Banda on Twitter at Poparitaville, and look for his book. He's actually working on a book about the time that he spent at Disneyland, and I expect that it's going to be amazing. Now, I have to wrap up this podcast because I got to, you know what? My mom left a message for me. She's not real tech savvy, but here's the message that she left.
Hey, Chris, this is your mom. I know you've been trying to get me, and I've been away from this phone. I shouldn't have been, because it's Mom's Day, and I want to talk to my firstborn. Yes, woo. Having a good Mom's Day, and hope you're having a good Mom's Day. Don't know where you're at, but please call me back. I want to hear your voice. That's it. Love you. Bye now.
Okay, so that's her message to me, and it's one of those things where it's like I knew, like, if I'm doing this podcast, I am gonna have to stop for like an hour. I'm gonna have to stop for an hour, 2 hours to talk to her. So I can't. That's why I was. This is an important thing. You got to talk to your mom on Mother's Day. You got to make sure you get all that. The text, just the text is not enough. I sent yes, it was a cute text, I'll admit, but still, I need some mom time, which is why I'm going to put on my Bluetooth headset, which I never wear out publicly because I feel like an idiot, but I'm going to wear it while I do some cleaning because I like to multitask, and I'm going to talk to my mom for probably several hours, and I will pay attention for most of that time. Because why? Because I'm a good son. What can I say? Okay, so look, you can follow me at that Chris Gore. You can follow the show at PodCRASH Show, and we have a Facebook page where we put a lot more information. Facebook.com/PodCRASH. And if you're on iTunes and you like this show, give us a good review. I hope you will give us something that we deserve around the 5 stars. I reviewed the show. I gave me 4 stars. I think I'm still figuring this show out. So that's it. And I really appreciate everyone that not only listens to the show every week, but that gives us feedback, because those positive reviews on iTunes help us get advertisers, and advertisers will help the show continue to keep going, because I don't know. This has been an experiment. It's and it's been a project that I love doing. But at some point, I'm putting effort into this, believe it or not. At some point, I would like for it to be more than the thing that I do on a Sunday afternoon to record this, and also I'd like for it to make just a little bit of money, just a little bit, just because who knows, the future will hold Yeah, I got to talk to my mom. Okay, all right, so thanks again. Let's get out of here!
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Hey, if you're still listening to this, you're probably a lot like me. You're the kind of person who stays through the end credits of a movie because you want to see the names of the people who are involved with this fantastic, amazing, incredible film that you just saw. Or maybe you just saw a bad film and you want to remember the names of the people at the end credits because you want to make sure to avoid a film by those people. You're my kind of geek. And for that, you shall be rewarded. Send me a self-addressed stamped envelope to PodCRASH with that Chris Gore, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036. I will return your self-addressed stamped envelope with a surprise. Something small, something you'll enjoy, something that's free, something that geeks will appreciate, like you, geeky, nerdy people that I like to hang out with. Later.